Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Hello Canal podcast. So today we're going back to our regular. I will be your host today. My name is Kevin, and of course, I have my wife with me today. I think what we're going to do moving forward is that we will alternate episodes, right? Every alternate episode, we will be responsible for hosting one episode each.
我们
right?
要比赛，
Yes.
看
Wait,
谁
wait.
的 listener 多一点。
Since when this is a competition? Hello, out of nowhere, it's like okay. But anyways, the plan is like this, right? Because we both have we have topics that we're interested in from our own respective, right, and our own perspective as well. And sometimes we want to raise and share this with everyone. And every alternate episode, we will conduct it. We'll have a different, same group of people, but a different host, right?
请大家支持我。
Okay, okay, but for this episode, please support me first. Okay, so there's this thing that we have been discussing this for quite some time. I'm sure our listeners have seen the what do you call it, the title for this episode today, right? And we're going to be talking about where's the button? Dun 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 dun.
这个是一个睡客厅 topic。
Yes. I need to be aware of the consequences. And we're talking about horoscopes today. Okay? And horoscopes is basically tied to what we call as astrology. Okay? And also just to share with you, right, the difference between astronomy and astrology. Okay? Some people find it very hard to differentiate.
两个都是星座是吗？
No. One is 星星, one is 星座.
什么是星星？
Like stars, planets.
叫什么？我找正确的华语。
Astronomy.
Astronomy。
Yeah. Okay, so while my wife is looking for the definition in
哦，它
Chinese,
叫天文学。
天文学, okay. Astronomy is basically a branch of science, right, which discusses on celestial objects, right, that we're talking about like planets, space, and the physical universe as a whole, right? So you're talking about Mercury, planet Earth, Jupiter, stuff like that.
它有 a fun fact， 我讲不完所有星球的英文名字。
I need to Google as well, but I can probably name a few. Some of them are the names of our favorite cartoon characters. Like we have Pluto,
哦，
but Pluto is no longer a planet lah. I can remember. We have Mars, we have Jupiter, we have Saturn.
这些以前我在教kindergarten 的时候，那个6岁的小孩子在学，我为了教他们，我还自己去学，我到现在我都不会背完全部。
I think in Chinese it's easier, right? 水晶火木土,
对，
something like that.
嗯
Yeah. So I think I learned this in Chinese, in Mandarin before in primary school.
Oh really?
Yeah. Wait.
I don't remember we learned
The
this.
syllabus is the same. What the heck? Okay, but anyways, that is astronomy. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the exact opposite. Something which has no evidence, basically. Well, limited evidence, I would say. And that is astrology. And astrology is basically defined as the study of the movements and relative positions of celestial bodies interpreted as having an influence on human affairs and the natural world. Which means that apparently how the stars align in the sky can change your characteristics, your personality, and how the world is affected, right? So everyone, horoscopes have many kinds of definition, right? Astrology, actually, and everyone will have their own versions of their characteristics of personalities of this astrology, okay? But let me just take a step back and just just to explain a bit on how astrology came about, okay? So let me just go to this website here. Okay. The first, or at least the earliest detectable concept of astrology, which is known as the 12 zodiac signs, was created by the Babylonians in 1894 BC.
哇，你看1894 BC 那么久历史的东西，为什么你不相信？
Huh? People without knowledge of science look at the stars and go like, there's a god up there. There
Okay.
must be a reason for that.
好，你继续讲，我听看看，
Okay.
决定要不要信。
Okay, right. So this was created in 1894 BC, which means that this is over 4,000 years of history. Okay, the Babylonians lived in Babylon, which is one of the most famous Mesopotamian cities, which is roughly where the modern day Iraq is, right? Okay, now to go deeper into it, the Babylonians, right, they were known to have mapped out the fixed stars and the various constellations, and they gave names to these constellations, right, which is what we know as the zodiac signs today, right? And since a very long time ago, the Babylonians have already followed a 12-month calendar, right? The 12-month calendar was created for a very long time ago, and they assign a zodiac sign onto each calendar, well, each month, right? And apparently every month, the what do you call it? The planet rotates to a certain direction, certain place in space that accurately displays what this constellation or these stars are. And that's why, we have your Gemini, your Cancer, your individual 12 horoscopes. Okay, so that is the overall history of how astrology came about.
所以他就是自己决定几时到几时是这个星座，可是那个 characteristic 他是怎样拿出来的？就是你们全部人在这天是生日的，你们从这个毕业到这个毕业生日，我觉得你们是怎样写下来的。
There's no evidence right on how they decided back then, but I think somewhere down the line they decided, okay, let's have a survey. Right, let's have a survey.
对啊，不然他们怎样有这个 conclusion 讲你比如你是水瓶座，你的性格是这样。
So that is something I've been trying to find online, and there's no sufficient evidence, right, to say how they came up with a reasoning behind how your horoscope determines your characteristics and personality back in those days, right? Somewhere down the line, somehow this just popped up. So there's insufficient evidence, and is there any statistics that was shown behind this? Maybe not. Who knows? Okay, but that is basically the history of horoscope. And the next thing I want to share with you is how I was first exposed to these horoscopes. So I mean, thankfully, when I was young in primary school, not a lot of my friends, or actually I can't even remember any of my friends talking about horoscopes, right? The first time I was introduced to horoscopes was when I was looking into my parents' newspapers.
在报纸的最后第二面。
Yes, and the newspapers that my dad read was the Star, and the Star there's always this TV guide, right? TV guide is very important. You need to know the time of what shows are coming up.
现在的小孩子根本不知道那个报纸最后第几面的时候要看几点做什么戏。
Yes, I mean they don't need to do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
And basically, after the TV guide, right, the timeline, you flip it open, we have comics.
对
right?
短的。
I love the comics. I read it religiously, like every single day, right? And surprisingly, just on the right side corner of the comics is where we have the horoscopes. So I was like, okay, interesting. Let me just take a look at this. And they have the dates, right? Which means that from this date to this date, I'm this specific horoscope, right? So when I first started, I just looked at my own birthday, which was, it put me into Gemini, right?
你是 Gemini.
Yeah. So initially, maybe just going off topic a bit first, right? Initially, when I first read the Stars newspaper, they put me in Gemini, right? But after that, if you look into other newspapers, some online websites, my birthday actually is a cross between Taurus and Gemini, right?
对。
There's always that like one day difference kind of thing that always changes between newspapers, right? So that's I don't want to go too deep into that yet, but I just want to hear from your side. How were you first exposed to 星座 astrology?
我大概的情况跟你一样，就是小时候看报纸的时候，我们看的是星洲日报，然后星洲日报它的副刊的最后第二面也是会有一点TV guide， 就是几点播什么戏，然后还有就是星座，然后我大概应该是小学吧，只要我拿到报纸，我一定会看我当然看自己的星座啦，我看别人的做什么。
But were you influenced by your friends, or did you just randomly popped up and started seeing in the newspapers?
小时候的话是 randomly 自己看，反而是大概中学、大学的时候才会跟朋友讨论你是什么星座，然后大了的话，大家都好像对12个星座有一点点的掌控，就比如我们在讨论男生啊，就是 看到这男的什么星座？哎呦，摩羯座，摩羯座人很怪，不可以要，something like that。
I see. Okay, I
就是
think
会有一个 typical stereotype 给 certain 星座，就是每个星座都有它的特点。
I see. Because in primary school, I only mix with guys basically, right?
对啊
And guys, we don't really care about what
对啊，你
horoscopes
干嘛去
are.
看啊？
I mean, nobody really cares, right? But it was in secondary when I realized that, hey, a lot of my friends who are females actually talk about horoscopes quite often,
对，
right?
我跟你讲，泡妞最好的方法就是跟他讲星座。
Wait, come again? This is a life hack.
泡妞最好的
Life
方
hack,
法
life
就是跟他讲他的星座。
Yes. Okay. So basically, pao niu means flirting and trying to get a bit more after flirting. Basically, what Wu Yifan does. Wu Yifan does. Okay. So that's how you're exposed to it, right? And okay, then maybe coming back to my side. When I first was exposed to it, I started looking into Gemini, right? Because that's my horoscope. And at that point of time, the description there was something that I could be like, okay, yeah, this fits me. You know, it's something that I've done for quite some time. So I believed in it like after 1 or 2 weeks of reading it in the newspapers, right? And how was it for you? Did you like immediately believe in it, or did you?
坦白讲，我以前觉得不准，可是
Since
我
the start?
since the start 我觉得不准，然后中学开始我总觉得报纸的不准，然后 internet 开始很 normal 的时候，我 online search 我还觉得他讲的就是我那种，我小时候觉得报纸的都不准。
Wow. So basically, you can think when you were younger, but then after you knock your head.
等一下我念一下我的
Okay.
我的给你听看看，你觉得准不准 ？By the way， 请你 post 一下我们的狗不见了。
And okay, we're back.
OK， 我们回来啦。
Welcome back. Okay, sorry, I had to take care of the dog. But yeah, okay. So maybe let's stray away for a bit, right? Let's talk about your 星座. Let's go ahead.
我就讲你的星座先。
Okay, sure. Come, let's go.
你的是
this will be in Mandarin.
Taurus。
According to this website, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taurus.
All right.
金牛座特点，金牛座是很保守的星座，喜欢稳定，不爱变动，然后在性格上比较慢热，对工作、生活环境都需要长期的适应。坦白讲，我自己念我自己都心虚，我觉得你根本就不是。OK， 金牛座往往是财富的象征，他们在投资理财方面常有独到的见解。金牛座男人往往有大男人的倾向。OK， 这点我耳边听清楚，这个不要剪掉啊。而金牛座女生打扮自己，我觉得不是很准啊。我不懂我本来坦白讲，我以前是很相信的，我是完全被你带跑。现在什么是星座我都不知道。
No, but that's the thing. Okay, so horoscopes, right? It takes two to finally understand, right? Why? Because sometimes you do things and you don't think that's you, but actually everybody thinks, oh, that's exactly how Kevin is. You get what I mean? Right? Actually, you are exactly what the horoscope is, but just that you can't see it yourself. But sometimes, right, people think you're not, but they don't know the real you, so that's where the horoscope, I mean, for many people, it reflects who they truly are, just that the people around them cannot see, right? But I think for my case, we can both agree that it's not me.
我老公什么都这样我念一下我的， 你觉得吧？ 射手座的人就像那支弦上的箭一样，他们主动出击，他们为人乐观、诚实、热情，喜欢挑战。射手座是12星座里面的冒险家，热爱旅行，喜欢赌博，意志力薄弱是射手座天生的弱点。你觉得呢？
50-50.
这样我随便底干念一个，你看一下像不像我，好不好？
Okay, sure.
好，我们就来找。
Like, you don't gamble, right? And you're not very good at taking risks. You don't like to challenge yourself.
I don't gamble， 我不会赌博，然后
You don't take risks.
我不 take risk 咩？我不 take risk， 我怎么会自己做工？
When we go to cafe, you need to research the Instagram before we can even order food.
因为这个是3心2意，不是不会 take risk。 就是我不想要，我太多东西想选了，倒不如你跟我讲哪一个好吃。
No, but okay, then the next thing is your business, right? Did you randomly go into any business or did you research on the business before
Of
you go
course
in?
research 啊。
See? That's not taking... I mean, your risk is very minimal because you've done your research. That's not gambling.
好吧，我随便念一
Okay,
个。
yeah.
所以不可以讲那个星座。做的人很聪明，他们最大的特点就是创新、独一无二的生活，个人色彩很浓重。他们对人友善又注重隐私，绝对算得上是友谊之心。他们喜欢交每一类朋友，但却很难交心，那需要很长的时间。这个不是我的星座，可是我觉得他真的很难 fit into 我哎。
Huh? Yes, I mean, it's not the whole thing, but
Which one?
parts of it.
我觉得很聪明，很聪明，谁都很聪明啊。
你不是很喜欢独一无二仪式感生活咩？
我没有喜欢仪式感啊，独一无二啊，独一无二，我觉得有一点哦。
哦，所以你也认定你不聪明啊？
我讲聪明，每个人都会觉得自己聪明的，哪里有笨的人觉得自己是笨的？
没有吗 ？Horoscope 哪里敢讲你笨？他只能讲你聪明吧？
其实，
嗯
OK， 我来讲一些，我觉得为什么大家会相信，就是好像大家都会觉得金牛座吝啬，然后狮子座脾气火爆，射手座爱玩，然后处女座没有，你知道我们做这种行业的，我们随时随地都要跟顾客聊天，除了股票，剩下你都可以跟我谈。
OK, go on.
还有惨了咯，摩羯座脾气很古怪，处女座就好像如果你是一个很爱洁癖，东西要摆得很整齐，然后那个人就会问你，你是不是处女座？其实我觉得这是一个很好跟人家聊天，就是切入的一个点。
I think it's a good conversational starter.
对
Right, especially for no-brainers.
我老公今天要睡客厅啊。
为
他今天睡客厅，掌声鼓励鼓励。
That's an English term we call worth it. No, but yeah, okay. Okay, so basically from my side, right, it's very similar. Like what you mentioned, sometimes I have two horoscopes. Like some say I'm Taurus, some say I'm Gemini. And that's when I started looking into other horoscopes and be like, hey, actually I fit Gemini. I fit Taurus as well, but not every part of Gemini and Taurus fit me as well.
你自己觉得还是别人觉得你？你自己觉得你 fit into 还是别人觉得你 fit into？
Okay, number one, it doesn't matter,
Why?
right? Because what happened was instead of outside of these two, I look at the remaining 10. Right, and of this remaining 10, there are bits and pieces of remaining 10 that fits into my profile. Right, which means that it's not unique. Right, if I can have a bit in, let's say, Cancer, a bit in Leo, right?
所以你的意思是他们给的 description 太 general 了。
To me, it's very broad, right? You can probably, I mean, if you live long enough in life, right, you can probably say that, oh, I had this event that happened to me once, that's, that I can reflect in this description of this horoscope, right? Because when we're young, we are like in primary school, nothing really happens, right? So we'll be like, oh, I've never experienced this before, blah, 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 blah. But at the age of 20, right, you should have gone through enough in life to say that actually, hey, I also have experienced this in a different horoscope before. So this doesn't make sense. It's too vague. Right? So that's how I realized, hey, I mean, not only do these two fit me, Taurus and Gemini, everything else fits me. Right? And then my question is, does it fit everyone as well? I didn't need to ask anyone. My answer is yes.
为什么？
Because everyone would have a very unique life, which will encounter all of these problems and will change their personality at any given point of time. Right? And it's so vague. Like just now what I said, right? They say that you're smart. Everyone must recognize they are smart.
对啊。
There's never a horoscope will say that you're dumb.
有啊。
Who?
我找一下啊，哪一个星座最笨？我看有没有答案。
Okay, sure. Go and look it up.
哪一个星座最笨？
Right?
有双鱼座
Yeah, of course.
Why?
There's also a 星座 which says 谁是最美的 and who's the ugliest, who's the prettiest.
所以咯， 所以是有答案哦。
Yeah, because it's all bullshit.
Oh yeah， 射手座最聪明哦。
Really? Come again?
射手座最聪明。
Seriously? Can I talk about math? Or history or what happened in World War II?
哎，
It's not reflective.
其实啊，其实我原本也是一个相信星座人，可是我跟你在一起过后，我不相信啊。然后我觉得 podcast 呢一定是要有一个正反面的正反反才 interesting 吗？结果呢，我今天就要逼我自己做那个反哦。
Oh, because I cannot 做反方。
不可以，因为你就不相信星座啊。
Cannot like, huh?
我讲，我为了让我们的 podcast 更 interesting 一点，所以我只好把我自己拉。不可以，万一等一下我顾客听到这 episode 我 GG 了，因为我跟他们讲星座。
Well, on the other side, I mean, for this podcast, I'm willing to sleep on the sofa in the living room.
其实我觉得，像那日本人相信他们把人
Blood type.
对，那个你又怎么看
？I think there are two different things, right? The first one is something that is logical, explainable, and the second one is something that is illogical. Okay?
为什么星座是 logical？
It's not 星座, blood type.
血型是 logical.
So why blood type is logical is because you learn about blood types. You're accustomed to certain things, right? Okay, now think about it this way. You're O type. Okay? You're expected to donate blood because your blood is universally accepted. Which means that you think that, you know, you're generous, you should be donating blood. But if you're AB, which nobody ever wants your blood type.
所以 AB 是自私型啊。
Yes.
惨了，我从今天开始不相信星座，我要跟人家讨论血型。
Yes. I mean, doesn't mean that they are what do you call it? They are 自私, they are selfish, right? But because they've been trained that, hey, nobody even wants your blood, right? So with that, it's like, oh, nobody even wants me. Like, I'm just going to be selfish. Like, nobody cares about me. That kind of attitude. So by learning what your blood type can do, can affect your personality. Get what I mean? Right? But blood type doesn't means you're smarter than, like, if you're A or AB, you're smarter than the O. Not exactly. But it can affect your generosity. Like, does that make sense? That is the logical answer of why certain personality traits can be assigned based on blood type. Yeah, but it's not really accurate. It's just a very vague guideline, which is similar to what we have for horoscopes.
如果这样子讲的话，这样相信血型的人，比相信星座的人更聪明，聪明那一点。
Hey, you're supposed to be 反方。Yeah, don't go there because I think people that believe in blood types are only Japanese. Or Koreans? Do Koreans believe?
从今天起我就相信了。
Huh? Blood types? Okay. Maybe we can do an episode on blood types, but let's drag it back to horoscopes, right?
所以你觉得 horoscope 完全是一个安慰心理的东西？
I think people need guidance. Let's wait for this ambulance.
对。
Damn, that's annoying.
这个就告诉你们不要乱出去 ，ambulance 每天都在想，他们很辛苦的。
Yeah, guys, please get vaccinated, right? If you can, as much as possible, get vaccinated so that we can all enjoy eating outside again.
对，很久没有出去了。
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's more tea. That is good. All right, so back to horoscopes, right? Oh, what were we discussing?
所以它是一个心理作用。
Yeah, okay. I think people are looking for directions. People that are lost, people who need some guidance, right?
我这边 share 一下我刚才在 online 找到的，为什么会有人相信星座？他给的原因是因为一个心理学家他认为青少年时期就是12岁到20岁的时候，他们是在建立自己的三观，他建立他的人生观、价值观、世界观，所以这时候他在找自己。所以那个时候呢，他如果刚好有了解到星座，他就会觉得好像我就是属于这样子的人，我就是一个热情的人、冲动的人。所以呢这个时候他们就会他在寻找自己嘛，他就刚好有这个 guideline， 他就会其实不知不觉他会更 fit into it。 就好像可能我以前不是一个爱自由的人，但是大家告诉我是射手座，我必须爱自由。Something like
that, right? I can tell you I had a very, very bad argument with my...
Sorry, 我还有讲完，就是但是 金牛座很吝啬，这点我在我老公是看到一清二楚啦。所以有时候就是他的那个人的性格，你把他 fit into 那个星座，而不是因为他是这个星座有这样，哎，我也不知道，有点混乱，不好意思。
It's okay because I think you got the wrong point. 我吝啬 is not because of my 星座 it's because I'm 涨价。
对对对，所以我的重点就是就是你会找你的星座的各种小事 trying to 解释，对 trying to 解释你这个人。惨了咯，原本就是正反反，结果变成两个反反。
Yeah, finally. 陪我一起睡客厅 Let's sleep in the living room together. But okay,
为什么不要一起睡房间？反正我都是反反。
That's true.
这样你的智商不怎么高。
Okay, but anyways, I want to talk about my experience, right? I had a very, very bad argument in secondary school.
跟谁？
So, with my female friends, right? So,
来讲名字。
No, cannot.
哦，就那一个啦。
No, a group of them.
OK
right?
OK.
So, they were having some discussion about horoscope, like, oh, what happened, during their days in school, right? And I was just curious. I joined the conversation, and I had an argument. But basically, my argument is this, right? They define their characteristics based on what the horoscope is, right? Which means like what you say, Taurus 很吝啬, right? Stingy, right? And the question here is, why would you only limit yourself to the characteristics of their horoscope, right? Every horoscope has a good personality. Why not pick up all of them? Why are you saying, oh, just because I am Gemini, I'm kind, but I don't need to be anything else, right? So their counter argument is a person cannot be all of these things, and they can only be whatever they are, and that is finalized or concluded based on horoscope. And I'd be like, really?
没有啦，
How did you get into this school?
我觉得你的朋友的那件 case 是因为他们是女生，他们可能那时候已经被你讲醒了，但是他们不能输你呀。我觉得啦，我现在这个情况，听你说那个故事，我觉得他们可能心里已经被你说服了的，可是毕竟面子上不能输有一个男生，他们就持续的 argue 下去。
Alamak, how can I like that? But yeah, I guess that I don't know, right? But we're too young. I do believe that now that we're older, they have already changed their perspective, right? I'm sure most of everyone who's grown up would have changed their minds.
可是我觉得现在还是会有女生相信的嘞 ，even 30多岁。
It's okay. Well, it's a good conversational starter, right? As long as they don't go crazy about horoscopes.
什么叫 crazy？ 就是每天都要 check 他的今天的运势是如何，然后才决定要怎样打扮。有些 app 是每天告诉你今天的运气如何，让你今天的 lucky 颜色是什么 ，blah blah blah。
Lucky number, lucky color, right? And some people, they read in the newspapers or whatever horoscope apps they have, right? And be like, oh, today is going to be a bad day for you,
对
right? And then they will notice every single bad things that happen in that day and say that yes, my horoscope is true.
对，其实这个华语叫先入为主，就是你已经有这样的 idea， 然后你发生的每一件事情就你看是不是都跟你讲今天会这样啊？就是抱着的心情会影响整天，就好像有我记得水逆，这个你要现在讲还是等一下讲
Yeah, let's just go into this topic.
因为前一阵子是水逆，水逆是什么？等一下你就解释。But anyway， 水逆的时候就很多人讲，哎，我电话坏因为水逆，我电脑坏因为水逆，我车子坏因为水逆。可是我其实每一天、每一分、每一秒，世界上的某一个角落都有这种东西坏，这样是不是所有事情都可以怪水逆？
Okay, so 水逆, right? For anyone who's never experienced this, like me, this morning, I just found out like 1 hour ago.
对，
okay?
我还因为这件事跟 Kevin 吵架。
Yeah, like we had a very short fight on this, right? But basically, 水逆 is what we call as Mercury retrograde. Okay, Mercury is the planet itself, and this is a very known science fact, right? Where once every year, at least once every year, right? Because Mercury is close.
水逆是1年10次。你看，我跟你讲，我不相信，其实我的总
Really?
Yeah， 水逆1年最少有4次。
Wait, let me just check. Okay, well, in my timeline it's 3 times. Okay, so I was wrong. At least, apparently in 2021, Mercury retrograde happens 3 times. Okay, what happens during Mercury retrograde 水逆 is that Mercury is one of the fastest planets to rotate around the sun. Okay, and on Earth, right, we actually rotate two times. One is around the sun, one is around planet Earth itself. We're rotating 2 times, right? 什么地转自转 and I'm talking about 自转. Okay, yeah. So 自转, right, basically we rotate at a speed that causes Mercury to look like it's going backwards. Okay,
其实它不是 going backwards， 它只是另外一个转太快，让它看起来好像 ghostan。
Yes, correct. It's not actually rotating backwards. It just looks like it's going backwards.
对
Because 我们的自转
how can you speak Mandarin?
I can't remember what the rotation the scientific term is again, but yeah, but planet Earth is rotating fast enough that Mercury looks like it's going backwards, right? And this only happens 3 times a year, and each time is probably like 20 days.
对
Okay.
然后这20天呢，我跟你讲，相信星座的人就会一直 blame 我的电脑坏，这水逆我也损失太惨了吧，就是 something like that.
Yes, 1 year has 365 days, right? Maybe you can maybe blame it on 60 days, but the remaining 300 days you're not allowed to blame on this. But I'm sure they'll use any chance to blame on this anyways, right? So that is Mercury retrograde. And
你知道台湾人很相信星座吗？
okay, when I was working in Taiwan, the people around me did not discuss horoscopes at all, so I don't
因
really
为
know
他们很
if-
老啊，你那时候在台湾做工的 colleague 都是比较年纪大的，他们还没有跟你讲风水已经很好了嘞。
Oh, they did talk about feng shui.
肯定的嘛。
They did. But anyways,
所以
they're not really young, right? The youngest that I was working with was around 28 years old. That was the youngest back then, right? So it goes up for 28 and above, and most of the workers most of my colleagues are basically men, right? So maybe horoscope is not a big deal, but feng shui is a very big deal. Like sometimes they will take naps after lunch, right? A short 15-30 minutes nap. They'll choose a very nice place that will not affect their feng shui to nap.
哦，
And that's crazy for me.
这个东西小声讲，其实我也很相信风水。
Let's talk about feng shui in another episode.
不要，等下你连客厅都睡不了，直接要睡 corridor。
It's okay. 客厅风水 no good.
先讲回台湾人很相信风水。台湾有一个很出名的，就是讲星座的人，他以前叫唐立奇耶，为什么他现在改名啊 ？Anyway， 他改名啊，他叫唐奇阳，她是一个女生。然后呢，台湾的媒体称她为国师。你懂什么是国师吗
？National teacher.
就是以前古代的时候，不是consultant。
Country consultant.
对，就是那种很高级别的 consultant， 是不是很高级别的？为什么他们会称为他国师呢？因为他每一个礼拜他都会讲，本周提醒什么什么东西来了，然后好像有时候台湾真的有大件事发生的时候，他们就会拿回他 video， 你看他上个礼拜已经提醒过我们要小心了之类的东西，所以他就被封为国师。然后我就在你讨论的过程中呢，我就开了他的 Facebook， 然后我就发现他有一个5分钟的 video， 就是讲这个礼拜会发生什么事情。我大概念一下啦。他就讲2021年已经来到了9月，虽然台湾疫情有好消息，可是9月星象就是你的以前的国师就是看天上的星星来讲，就是有凶星驾到，我们这个礼拜可能要小心。你知道有这样的事情吗？
No.
OK。然后他就讲9月星象，他又看了月亮，我不知道他有没有家里是不是有很多那个望远镜来看啊？他就讲有不会毒杀，人不可忽视，很多地区呢有苦难传出，然后还有不变的冒出事件之芽，眼看只会持续长大扩散，不会停止。他就讲了很多啦，然后我念一点，哇，他整个
essay
对，整个 essay 让我有一点不想继续念下去，但是我们看一下 comment， 竟然就会有人讲，哇，很准耶，天蝎座下周将有新的工作挑战，完全是新的领域，根本就是我。然后就会有人讲，真的，我的星座讲有睡跟没有睡一样，真的好忙。然后处女座同学期望运势越来越好。然后还有射手座很准啊，努力终于得到了回报。 然后整个 comment 大概有75个，但是有297个 share， 证明相信星座的人有很多很多。而且我刚才在你讲的过程大概看了一下 profile， 样子都是20多30岁。
Young girls, right? I suppose.
就是不是小孩子相信哦。
Okay.
所以其实台湾人很相信，就好像每次我在帮顾客设计眉形的时候，他们就会讲，Miki 你是不是处女座？他们就会问我你是不是处女座，因为我很要求完美。
不是因为你是处女啊。Okay, sorry.
他完蛋了，他今天是注定睡客厅。
But they're trying to assign a horoscope to you based on how you react.
对。
Well, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, right?
其实有时候可能只是要一个 starting topic 的方式了，就好像我看到一个顾客，有时候我就觉得你男朋友是不是狮子座，就是 something like that， 就是其实你只是要一个可以开启 conversation 的一个机会。算了啦，我已经彻底放弃相信星座这件事情了。跟 Kevin 在一起过后，星座、风水什么屁我都不相信，我只相信我自己。
I think that's the best. It's boring, but it's the best. Nobody give you direction on where to go.
所以我很 lost 咯。
我跟你讲啊 ，Okay, let me just share.
Speak English.
Speak Chinese. Okay, so directions, right? You know, long time ago, people use the stars as a navigation tool.
对。
Right, which means that what's that? Northern star means this is pointing north. I need to go this direction, and it'll get me to north. Right, the North Pole or whatever. But do you know that there are certain countries, they spend 6 months in the sun for 24, well, not really 24 hours, 3 months in the sun for 24 hours.
哪里有？
Countries with 4 seasons, right? And the what do you call it? The country is so far up north or down south that they are seeing the sun or they're seeing darkness 24 hours straight.
然后
Right, which means that for let's say 3 months, right, if they're only seeing the sun, there's no way they can see the stars.
那他们那个时候要怎么看就是运势？
They have to rely on people in the south. Right, so people in the northern regions, right, they have long sort of removed themselves from this kind of beliefs in horoscope, especially the European region. But people in America, they do still believe a lot in horoscopes. Yeah. So I think it's a culture thing, right? When I was in Japan, I don't know a lot of people in Japan who believe in horoscopes, but their go-to is blood types.
对 blood type.
Right. So I think every country, they have their own kind of beliefs, and their own kind of systems that they believe in, right? And it's something that they follow by. And it affects their lives, right? So if you're from a different place, or if you have a different belief, that influences your life, you can feel free to let us know. We may or may not be wrong. Always take what we say with a grain of salt, right? And I hope that we can have a healthy conversation, discussions in the comments, and just understand each other from everyone's perspective. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share before we end today's session?
有，我觉得有一个很重要，就是我刚才看到了一小段，就是我觉得很适合给女生 怎么念
specifically
for 女生，因为女生都很相信星座。然后我要念这一段话，就是人类倾向接受自己相信或强化自己思想的讯息。我觉得我打了疫苗，我舌头打结，我这2天讲话不是很顺。
Okay.
你看什么事情都可以赖，就是你看啊，就是有一件事情发生的时候，你就 blame into 另外一件事情，就好像星座。OK， 这个就是我要讲的重点，就是就是比如星座叫你小心诈骗，或者身边财物不见，或者过马路时候要留意，避免做出冲动的决定。你看。这些事情原本就是我们每天需要在意的事情啊，可是当它写在你的 horoscope 那天，又那么刚巧，事情发生了，你就你看对不对，都被说中了。所以当事情没有发生的时候，你就幸好我有先听星座专家的建议，所以这件事情才没有发生。这个就是女生的心理。快点掌声。
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder, right? Something you don't even need to do it like once every month or something. This kind of messages can be shown every day.
对，所以呢，我要强调就是不管哪一个建议或者预测了几百次，只要他对一次，人们就会记得他刚好说中了那一次，而没有中了，他们就觉得啊不用紧了，幸好我有 prevent 了，所以才没有发生。这就是我要讲的，给所有的女生们。不过如果
And guys too, okay, guys
不过
too.
如果你觉得如果他相信星座，他可以得到心灵上的安慰，他需不需要相信呢？
Okay.
比如这个人是一个很 depressed、很没有安全感、很 anxious 的人，他每天靠着星座来开心的生活，你会怎么做？劝他不要相信？
But no, 星座 doesn't do that. That is probably religion or medication. Because horoscopes, they give you a guidance, right? Which means that what you're supposed to look out for today, what you're supposed to feel like.
这样的话，星座没有 fit into 任何 religion。Christian 的人相信星座吗
Yeah.
？Yeah?
Yes.
Why? 他们不是只相信他们的 God 吗？我
No.
怕我们的每个 episode 被人家打，我们不要放我们的照片。
Okay. But yeah, I mean, gods is one thing, right? But they can argue that this is planets, the stars, and God created these stars, right? So, I mean, they can come up with whatever reason just to fit their narrative, their purpose, right? So, don't want to go too deep into that.
好，我觉得这集会有第二集，让我准备好再来。
Okay, sure. But maybe we can try talking about blood types as well. I think that would be very interesting.
Blood type 啊，
We can do a bit
我
of
从今天
research.
开始我就要相信 blood type 了，因为你讲 blood type 是有科学的，有科学根据。
Okay.
血型、性格，我现在就马上找。
Okay. So maybe we'll do some research, right? And then once we have some ideas, you can even talk about this in the next episode where you will be hosting.
不要，我要讲一个 topic， 然后我要跟你看我们谁的 view 高一点。呼呼。
Okay, all right, sure. And having said that, we'll be ending today's episode, right? So hope you guys like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed listening to this. Yeah. Okay. And please stay safe, take care, and please get vaccinated. Goodbye.
Bye.